Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a film that I absolutely love. Is it the best Spider-Man film? I'm not sure. It's a difficult battle between this and Spider-Man 2. But that's not what this video is about. This film opens with an immersive and loud title sequence, then the film shows you the life of Peter Parker in many glimpses. This sets up the tone of the film, the breathtaking animation style, and has many Easter eggs to the Raimi films. The film wastes no time in setting up Miles as the protagonist of the movie. It sets up what kind of person he is, his interests, his fears, and his relationships with the people he cares about. He feels like a real kid. He feels like you and me. We learn about his and his father's conflicting thoughts on Spider-Man. There are minor setups that we understand the relevance of later in the film, such as Uncle Aaron saying he used to work as an engineer underground when taking Miles to paint there, but turns out he works there as Prowler for Kingpin. After Miles gets his powers, the film wastes no time to really get us and him to know that he meets an unfamiliar situation where he's thrusted into action. And when Miles becomes a little hopeful on learning that the Spider-Man of his universe can help him with his newfound powers, that hope soon comes to an end when Kingpin freaking slams Spidey to his death. Miles is even more scared now. He's in a new school, he doesn't have friends, he feels like an outsider, and now the man who could have helped him figure this out is no more. He's all alone now. Miles is a teenager, and at that age, even the slightest of emotions feel like the end of the world. We're still growing up and learning all the bad and good things about life. So imagine being a teenager with personal fears and insecurities and now being thrusted with the responsibility to fill the shoes of Spider-Man. This is the internal conflict of our protagonist. In every situation, Miles is trying to prove himself. He's trying to be Spider-Man the best he can be. And this works not only because it's relatable for teenagers, but also in terms of screenwriting, because this leads Miles to take active decisions, making him a character that pushes the plot forward while also giving us a look into what kind of person he is. Peter B. Parker is another great character. He could have been the exact same as the Peter who died, but no, the writers are smart enough to give us the exact opposite, making Miles' struggle even more difficult. Peter is a man who has seen it all. He has lived a glorious life but has also lived through the dark stuff. He lost Aunt May and was separated from the love of his life, Mary Jane. He's lonely and depressed, and we can empathize with that. The relationship between Peter and Miles works because both of them are flawed people. I think that's important. People. They're not vessels to move the plot forward. They're not these perfect icons. They're imperfect. They make mistakes. They have fears. And that's what makes them feel real. Not realistic for the sake of grittiness, but realistic for the sake of feeling human and vulnerable. Peter helps Miles find himself and his inner potential. And in the process, Peter's ability to empower is something he realizes he himself has. Both of them help each other become better people. It also works to show how they both impact each other's life. Now, the villain Kingpin isn't the best villain of all time, but he works for this particular movie. And I have this belief that I'm ready to be challenged for. That one of the important ways to craft a memorable villain is 1. Make him or her truly evil and hateable, or 2. Give him or her a distinguishable personality, or 3. Give them an understandable motivation, possibly an empathetic one. Kingpin works here because firstly, he is just freaking big and heartless. He shoots Uncle Aaron and feels nothing, and his big physical presence gives every scene with him in it a sense of terror. But he's also empathetic, as we learn that the so-called plot of the movie stems from an emotional reason. Despite me personally loving the multiverse shit, it can be disinteresting to others. But this works so well because we learn that Kingpin is doing this just because he wants his dead family back. It made me care for him. Internally, he's just a man who lost his loved ones and wishes them back, and uses his power and resources to do so. It gives him depth, but this doesn't also make him less menacing. The soundtrack of this film is unforgettable. I listen to it every single day. Each and every type of song has personality, and it only accentuates what kind of people the characters are, making it feel like they're bursting out of the comic book pages into our world. Spider-Verse is also probably the best looking movie ever. I mean, due to my jackass internet, this film loaded a couple times. But the thing is, every frame it loaded on contained a masterpiece of artwork. Also, I think that one of the real heroes of this film are the artists at work. They made me realize that Spider-Man is one of those characters that work best in animation. Characters made complicated facial expressions that I've seen actual people make, and it completely feels authentic. The phrase comic book come to life is something I wish wasn't overused because it fits perfectly for this film. Every frame is filled with personality, style, color, and flair. Brooklyn feels like a character in the film. It feels like a place Miles grew up in. You can clearly tell how much effort was put into the film. Not one frame, I repeat, not a single frame is wasted. Screenplay wise, it's done extremely well. Miles faces struggles and has an emotional low point and also rises. The low point was so beautiful and emotional. Miles and his father have a moment of reconciliation after Aaron's death. I felt so much, even though Miles never said one word throughout the entire scene. Even the animation subtly communicates Miles' struggle. In most animated movies, we see the frame rate is at 24 frames per second, so the movement of the characters feels smooth and lifelike. This is called animating on ones. But Spider-Verse does something a little different. Since Miles is still learning to be Spider-Man in this film, you see him trying to swing and bumping around here and there. In these moments, Miles is animated on twos, which makes his movements feel more crispy and crunchy. And later on in the film, when he has embraced who he is then animated on ones. These little details matter as they play a role in the storytelling. This is when the film really explores the consequences of being Spider-Man. Being a superhero has its merits. You get to have all these cool superpowers, get to save people, and feel like a hero. But it comes with its demerits as well. Your personal life can get affected, and the people you love enter danger territory. I love how the Spider-Man and Spider-Woman all talk about who they lost. It really highlights the fact that every one of them have had to face sacrifice and consequences for being a superhero. It unites all the Spider people in a way, beyond the superpowers. It unites them through their shared pain. Characters' deaths aren't treated as a plot point. It feels like a necessary evil that makes the characters grow as people, to realize the harsh reality of life. You just gotta accept it and keep moving forward. It really shows us how the creators truly care about and truly understand the essence of the character of Spider-Man. The What's Up Danger scene always gives me goosebumps. It's the moment where music, animation, color, lighting all come together to create a scene that stays with you. It's the culmination of Miles' struggle. He can be Spider-Man, his own Spider-Man. And as it had already been pointed out by many, the shot of him taking a leap of faith is flipped to show him thematically rising. This is great visual storytelling. The so-called final battle works because not only does it have a burst of color and comic booky goodness, but it has internal stakes present throughout. We know what this means to the characters we have now grown to care for and how they have grown as individuals themselves. Miles' final move against Kingpin is so satisfying. He uses his uncle's words to save the day. It shows to us the importance of people in our lives and how they can affect our beliefs. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a film that asks the question, who can be Spider-Man? And through the use of its complex characters, medium of telling its story, it also answers this question. Anyone can be Spider-Man. Even you. Now, there are many comic book projects releasing. I mean, we're getting Oscar Isaac to play Moon Knight. It's a crazy time for superhero movies. But I only find myself excited for very few of them. And not too long ago, we got the first look of the sequel of this film, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. And honestly, I'm so extremely excited. I think it probably takes a little while after the first film because Miles looks a little older here. But I'm just so excited to see these characters I fell in love with again. And now Miles is going to go through the multiverse and swing across crazy new places with even more of the spectacular animation that I adore. But knowing the people working behind this film, I know that they will manage to tell a personal story amongst all the multiversal craziness, and I'm here for it. I hope that this is not only a great film, but it's also a really great sequel that does not forget about the character arcs of the Spider People, but instead progresses their conflict and takes them to new and fresh territory. And since this is a part 1, there's going to be a part 2, and I'm not at all complaining. And No Way Home is also coming out very soon, so that's something I'm looking forward to. So, it's just a great time to be a Spider-Man fan. Thank you guys for watching this video, and you know what? Have a great day.